I like that part. Put them tones out there. Take away the phones and listen to my tones. Put away them phones and listen to my tones. I'm here to move and remove. This is one of my favorite things. It's just too damn heavy. I'm just thinking how strong I've gotten. Uh, Send everybody the energy of the blue argonaut. That was the tones that come because they're kind of companions now. The blue argonaut and the big bow, but it's just too heavy to lift both. Oh, thank you, brother. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Well, anybody checks this out ever? Um, my name is Big Pontiac, and welcome to the Chocolate Mountain Show. I am your super funky host. I am the holder of the sacred ball game created by the Hero Twins. And I'm also your galactic daddy-o, welcoming you to sit for a little while on my galactic patio from Minnesota to the universe. And I drank my beer already. And so tonight again, sugar water in the copper mugs. So pop them if you got them, smoke them if you want them. And as you know, puffing on that Wolf Ridge, the Yukon Wolf in the purple print. Woo! Hit me in my protons, baby. Woo! Super Sly is a hard act to follow. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Hard act to follow. What's up, B Brown? He's a hard act to follow. fun information. It's interesting about Jody. I've had Jody on my other show. I've had Jody. She sends me all her videos. I, I normally watch almost all of Jody stuff, so it's quite interesting. Quite interesting. Hey D, what's happening? What's happening? Oh, let's see if we can do it like this. Oh. Mm. Lorenzo, my man, what's happening? What is going on? What's going on, man? Adam, what is happening? What is going on? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Oh. Give you some of this spiritual pimping. Oh, yeah, I guess people say, well, what has happened since we saw you earlier today? You got more to say? Well, of course, I've got more to say. I don't think I ever run out of shit to say. Oh, Sid, what is happening? The Khazars were a group of Russians, of native Russian people. I want to say the Khazars were after the Khans. You know, after the Khans relinquished Russia, I believe the Khazars was the family that came into the existence. Now, again, that's off the top of my head without looking it up, but I think that's kind of how it went. Um, and even if you look into, Catherine the Great, Peter the Great, into the last czars, you can kind of see the directions that the Russians went. And of course, the travesty that people don't realize is that the Bolsheviks was Jewish faith people. The Jewish faith people killed a lot of the Catholics that was in Russia. Again, they killed the Tsar, who was Russian. On Google, it says something else. Okay, you have to tell me what it says, because that's off the top of my head. Hey Jay, I don't quite know. I don't really quite remember. Thank you. Those are very kind words, Jay. I don't really quite remember SD. So I have a picture though where one of the Khazars gets killed by one of the Khans. So kind of that's what I was kind of basing it on. And this picture also has Genghis Khan as being a melanated person. I don't know. I really don't know, but that's what it could be. Yeah, I mean, go ahead and share it. Share it. Write me a little post there where you can share it, and yeah, enlighten me, because I don't quite remember. I know a lot of my history, but some of the things I don't quite remember, and I haven't really studied a lot of history. The most Russian history I really studied is the Khan period, and not a lot of that, but definitely World War One. Definitely World War One. Based in Russia. Yeah. Oh, okay. A little bit based in Russia. Yeah. Yeah, they was based in Russia. Yeah, definitely based in Russia. But I think it's a picture, and I gotta learn how to do that shit. But yeah. It's funny. It's funny, like the local news and the attacking and shit. I go back to again the stocks. Gold is. I didn't watch it today. I checked it briefly before I came in. What the closing price of gold is still a great investment. Bitcoin is up and down. What do you say? I'm a millionaire. No, I'm not a millionaire. But gold and silver, especially silver. I think silver is still close to 25. And again, I going off of looked at it. I was looking at several things. Like I'll have a book here, a camera here, a camera there. So covering the southeastern section of modern Europe, European Russia, southern Ukraine, Crimea, and Kazakhstan. Okay, okay. But that's who really the Khans. Remember when Genghis Khan he took over half the world. Genghis Khan went all the way into Germany and went all the way into the Americas. From he sent a force into Canada from Alaska into Canada, and a lot of them came down. I mean, look at the behavior of the people that lived. Like when they came in there, probably the early 1700s, late 1700s, early 1800s. Look at their behavior. They act just like the mongrels that's up there. And there was less up there. That's why Genghis Khan's story might even be iffy if it's real. There was nothing up there to sustain people, not in large numbers, not in fighting numbers. So it makes you wonder about that part of history. But they're the same kind of type. My people that was in the woodland Indians, we built towns and shit. A lot of towns they took and murdered people. We built towns and we stayed in them towns. But you see the mongrel people that was in this area and going for the Southwest before the Trail of Tears, this is what they did. As soon as the buffalo went to one area, these motherfuckers packed up and followed the buffaloes. So you tell me they ain't the same people. Lakers trash. Yeah. I don't even know how my video did. I didn't even watch it, but it showed LeBron. LeBron had missed that layup after getting smacked in the head. And what did they do? What did they freaking do? Bounce, bounce, curve in. Bounce, bounce, curve in. Let me see. Where's he? He ain't came in. Lobo ain't came in. He was in earlier. But that's the shit they did. Warriors championship. Yeah, I'm feeling that. I'm kind of thinking that the Warriors, I don't know. I still think that Harden might be Oscar Robertson. That is the vibe I get, that they're going to, and again, with Milwaukee winning last year, and you look at going with Harden, putting that piece in there, and the shaming of Ben, I wouldn't even be surprised that they got this motherfucker shooting 1,000,000 threes and making him shoot and hypnotizing him and shit. You can shoot a layup, you can dunk the ball, all that scripted shit. But when has ever a player just refused to hoop and he ain't fined and suspended? Miami is good. Yeah, Miami took freaking Milwaukee to the limit. So yeah, Miami is good. Warriors championship. Lakers trash. Definitely Lakers is trash. Definitely Lakers is trash. I'll say that. So we'll see. We'll see how it all turns out. I just still see that Oscar Robertson playing out. So I'm kind of gonna stick to that, and we'll see. We'll see as it plays out. I definitely think the Warriors is gonna come out the West. They will flip the script when AD comes back. I don't know. That's maybe. That's kind of maybe. Because I'm not impressed with him at all. I wasn't impressed with him. I wasn't impressed with him during the bubble, and I definitely have been, every year he's been a Laker, I've been less and less impressed with that guy. I look back at it, he was not worth everything they gave up. I mean, Plianka, the Westbrook trades is all I got to say about Plianka, whatever his name, the general manager of the Lakers. The Westbrook trade made no sense. I said that earlier. It made no sense. Nowadays they're making playoffs. Nowhere they're making the playoffs. They're going to be in the play-in. Lakers is 10th, so they're in the play-in. And then the play-in people have to play the first round team. The top seeded team. And so, yeah. But yeah, I wasn't impressed with him in the bubble. I really wasn't. And I've never been impressed with this dude. He has really never shown the toughness that it takes to play championship basketball. I mean, he won his championship in Kentucky. I don't think that they're going to let him win another one. They did let him win the one, but look at them circumstances. That wasn't nothing but grown men. Here we go. That wasn't nothing but grown men AAU basketball. That's all it was. That's what I figured. Yeah, that's trash. That wasn't nothing but grown man AAU basketball. Can you decode the NHL? I watch a lot of hockey games. But yeah, I mean, you can look at how they set it up. I saw Gold again. The Wild won tonight. I watched the Wild play. The Wild beat Philadelphia. The Wild are in their East Coast swing. I think they play Buffalo tomorrow or Friday. Yeah, Friday. I think Buffalo the next game. So that's tomorrow or that's Saturday. I'm not sure. But I don't know as much as decode as break down how you see these fake goals. Like Philadelphia's first goal tonight was a turnover where the player, okay, so the defender is kind of playing the passing lane a little bit, but with the stick, your reach is a little longer. And it appeared like the Minnesota player kind of tapped it over to him and it looked like a turnover. And he skates down there by himself, and it's almost like the defender's a little behind him, but it's one-on-one with the goalie and he scores. But they showed another play, and this play made the player look horrible. So the player did a turnover, and then he didn't sprint down the ice. This is the defensive player now, so he has to, and they show him he does not sprint for the play. And Mark Messier said they replayed it, which I was kind of surprised that they replayed it. And it was really interesting because the dude was a defender and didn't hustle down the ice. Now, as far as the shift change, he didn't get off the ice after they went down and they scored. They scored. But the defender never, like his man scored, the one he threw the turnover to. He never got with his defender. Like Messier said, you put your head down, you skate fast as you can. This dude didn't. Matter of fact, he pushed and he glided to mid ice, and then he came into the play. But his man was like, so you see the mistakes they make. But as far as decoding, I don't really know if I could decode. They should let Howard play more. They played him enough. He missed some free throws. Yeah, Wild won 5-4. Yeah, but they gave up to a sorry team. That team ain't been averaging but two goals a game. They gave up fucking 4 to that weak ass team. It's funny how they play. They're good at acting. Oh yeah. And I said this before, and I've said this for the last couple of years, even my other channel before they closed it down. Hockey, out of all the scripts, hockey has the best script, I think, by far. I think their script is the best by far. I enjoy their script. I think it's more entertaining. And of course we have the magic kicking the gold hockey thing, but yeah, all of them is acting, I mean, like a little bit of what Sly and what Jody was alluding to tonight is, even the sex thing for like a hooker would be acting. It's the same kind of thing. I mean, it's all just acting. That's all sports is they're just athletic actors. They live by a script. They don't do what they're told. And I ain't really got into the earbud stuff because I think they wear earbuds too to get further guidance. So yeah, I think they get further guidance. James Worthy. That's funny. That's funny. James Worthy. Devontae, that's a good one. That is a good one. But yeah, they're like, but that's what it all is. And it really starts in college. Now you're seeing them even pushing into high school. So yeah, they're trained, they're conditioned, they have handlers all around them. I mean, I just look at so many. I look back in my life and look at all the handlers that I came across, and not necessarily people that handled me, but just I noticed that they handled other people. As I said, one of my teammates one time ate with one of the state senators, and that was all. But he was so. It was like he was such a wild card. There was no way anybody was gonna tame him. It just wasn't there for him. And when the new coach came in, despite his talent, yeah, he put him off the team. Someone said Trump gonna come back with Elvis Presley, Tupac, Prime, Michael Jackson concert. That's funny. That's funny. That's funny. To be president again. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Hey, Nico, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening? I say it's very probable. The Democrats is they really scrambling. When Jim Crow Joe, Slow Joe, gave his gave his rap to the rest of the country, you know, to cap to the country. You know, it's trying to protect the midterms. That's all that was, and trying to, like, even putting that sister in said, you black women vote for me next time again, and y'all hustle for me. That's what that was. Fuck you black men. You know, we'll give the Asian rights, but we ain't gonna give y'all no rights. They could still kill y'all like they always have, but they gonna get a little more rights, and we gonna throw a little more money to them too. So you're not getting nothing tangible. Her sitting there, Clarence Thomas. You know what? Thurgood Marshall, when it was time to vote on if Ali could be, you know, if what the FBI did to him was illegal, Thurgood Marshall, because black issues, he would step aside. He would step aside. What? So all these other issues that these Europeans is facing, they should step aside because it's European issues. But if it was a black issue and you see that this motherfucker would step aside, wouldn't even consider the shit, you know. Went to the new Batman tonight. Awful movie. I don't recommend it, even a child. Whoa. All right. My goodness. Okay, I forgot about it. I completely forgot about it. If Trump comes back, Bush coming back. Which Bush? Jed? Which Bush? Jed? Hey, there's Barbara. What's happening, Barbara? Thank you for joining. which Bush? which Bush? Bush beer. Bush beer. Oh shit. I don't know. Elvis Presley, Tupac. That's funny. George Bush, that is. George Bush. Definitely. Now George is a little too old. George got to be hitting mid-70s. He probably 73, 74. He old as them fuckers in there now, though. They all old motherfuckers. Biden 77, 78. By the time it's re-election to elect these old motherfuckers. I want to bite a little bit on Craig Facts. They brought a topic up, and I thought it'd be worth if there are theories they all alive, could be. I kind of want to just laugh a little bit because they said like, who was the greatest drug addict of all time, and none of them really hit on this, at least when I was watching it. But the greatest drug addict of all time was hands down Elvis Presley. Hands down Elvis Presley. As I was saying, Elvis Presley used to walk around with that clear, well, it's blue, but the liquid cocaine, and the blue shit is pure as shit. And he would just dip, you know. The opiates and everything he used, and if it's, you know, a character, but the way they said that the character couldn't shit anymore. And that's really what killed him, is all that pressure from the opiates, because the opiates will tend to back you up. But he had by far had to be the greatest drug addict of all time. They call Elvis the White Tupac. What? White Tupac? Elvis was before. And you know, Elvis played all the roles. Elvis was the archetype. You know, if you really looked at the archetype of the movie star, it was had a hit record, you know, and then do movies. You know, had a hit record and then turn it into movies. And then we see Richard Pryor being the archetype for brothers. Because remember, Cosby was TV, but Richard Pryor was the first to really do that bridge from comedy, really a comedy, right into to movies, doing movies. Now later, Richard Pryor was offered the Pryor Show, but before he was doing movies. You know, Richard Pryor, you know, Lady Sings the Blues. Trying to think, the Mac. You know, the Mac. Richard Pryor was in. There's several, you know, he was in some TV shows too, you know, bit parts. But he was the bridge that became the comedian movie star that set with the archetype that later became Eddie Murphy and ones after him. I mean, even some of the Jewish faith people took that same route, because the archetype again then was shift to be on Saturday Night Live. But remember, Richard Pryor was on the very first Saturday Night Live. So Richard Pryor was kind of on Saturday Night Live again. So he was that archetype that showed the Saturday Night Live in the movies. You know, like I was telling somebody that didn't know that, like Jim Carrey was in Once Bitten. You know, that was he did movies before In Living Color, but he had to go back to Living Color, however they penalized him. The rebel image. The society so feminine that they want a woman president so bad. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I agree. They do. They do. And so I think that Richard, I think that now when we get into the top bass heads of all time, the top bass heads of all time got to be Richard Pryor. I mean, Richard Pryor spent basically 2 years smoking freebase, and the only way he could stop was really to try to kill himself. There was no other way he could stop, and that was the way they took away his power and some of his money too, because they kept him high. But for pretty much 2 years, this motherfucker stayed in the room. I don't think any bass head is greater than that. I think the number one bass head of all time is Richard Pryor. Now, the number two would be Marvin Gaye. I mean, Marvin Gaye was such a bass head that Marvin Gaye had to go to Amsterdam. It's funny, you know, the open drug place, but open weed. And Marvin Gaye liked smoking weed. But to get away from bass, Marvin Gaye had to go out of the country. You know, a sub guy would be Michael Ray Richardson. Michael Ray Richardson had to leave the country. He got banned from the NBA for being a bass head. John Drew, same way. John Drew got. So I would put Marvin Gaye number two. And then the third bass head, a lot of people wouldn't really understand, or rather people would look at it, but it's got to be Whitney Houston. What did Whitney Houston say? Crack is whack. Remember that? That's what Whitney Houston said. Crack is whack. That's what she's saying. I'm smoking bass. She's smoking bass. Like it was a taxi cab confession. And the dude started to get smoking in the back. And he's like, what do you got there? Some crack? You know, the taxi cab dude. He's like, crack? No, this is bass. What did they say in New Jack City? It wasn't the cane, it was the bass. And it's funny, New Yorker dudes call crack bass. They don't really distinguish it being something else. Or yeah. But even some of the West Coast dudes was saying that too. You know, your daddy is a bass head. Well, bass wasn't crack. Bass was a stronger drug. Chris Herron for the Celtics. Okay, whatever that means. Chris Herron. Now, heroin is a different thing, because when you look at heroin was a drug so much that again, you go back to, I think it was called it's called it was liquid opium. Tombstone. She's drank lithium. Lithium. It was called. It was nothing but liquid opium. You know, very addictive. But I think I don't know. I think Charlie Parker is probably the number one heroin addict of all time. When Charlie Parker died, they said that Charlie Parker, even though he was like 37, he looked like he was in his 60s. His physical health, he had done heroin to the point where it destroyed him in his physical health. And you know, not eating right, not drinking enough water. And, you know, he was, so Charlie Parker's got to be the worst heroin addict of all time. Billie Holiday is another one. John Coltrane, Miles Davis, all were heroin addicts. So I just wanted to add that a little bit. David Ruffin. Yeah, David Ruffin would have been a bass head, no doubt. David Ruffin was a bass head. You know, they all stopped smoking weed and started doing bass. Yep. Trump will get the head wound in Seattle or Ohio. Oof. Yeah, I'm not passing that on. Playing Massachusetts athletes. So extremely once purchased a drug and is. Oh, okay. You saying that? Oh, that dude. I know who you're talking about now. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah. Okay. Chris Herron. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Okay, I got you. Chris Herron. Warm up gear 5 minutes before taking the floor. Yeah, I remember Chris Herron now. Good one. Thank you for adding that. Charlie Parker was great. Yeah. Did Johnny Cash make the list? You know, Johnny Cash got to be in there too. He got to be in there too. Yep. I didn't put Johnny Cash, but he definitely got to be in there. Yeah, Charlie Parker was great, but I mean, a terrible drug addict. I mean, it probably took away his greatness. And what's funny is like John Coltrane quit heroin, but again, not drinking enough water, ended up with kidney disease. Now they didn't say from diabetes, but he ended up dying a young man of kidney disease. Yeah. So, and I want to say this, I've said this before and they touched on it a little bit, like they was talking about all the Temptations and how, all of them died. But if you really looked at a lot of them R&B people, a lot of the R&B people, like even looking at the Dramatics, one of my favorite groups, a lot of these cats was cane addicts, not necessarily doing bass, but powder. And Rick James. Rick James will be another one on there. Rick James have to be considered too. Because Rick James tells a story in the little animated series they did where they saw Sly Stone doing it. And as I said, I saw Sly Stone in Greensboro. Sly Stone came out. They was going to stand, one of his songs. He came out, sat down at the piano, and the motherfucker, he didn't play a key and went right back out. That shows drug addiction there. uh, but Johnny Cash, yeah. Oh, Green Onion. Haven't seen you in a while, or at least you haven't made a thing. Thank you for joining me. As I said, I was talking about this all the time. In the 60s, what you saw middle class people being functional heroin addicts. I lived with a functional heroin addict. So, it wasn't they had to destroy themselves and was chasing it every day. My roommate, shit, we got paid every Friday. We worked for the city. Every Friday we got paid. And from what I saw, he did heroin from Friday to Sunday. But other than that, I can't really say what he did, I can't really say. All the legendary artists were high on something. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They pretty much were. How long have you been alive? That is a weird question. How long have you been alive? Hey, brother Sean, what's happening, man? Thank you for joining me. How is it there? Bobby Brown, yeah, Bobby Brown. It's funny. I don't know if people caught this, but when they had their TV show, because she was more the addict, and like he finally admitted, her brother turned her on to Kane. It wasn't Bobby Brown, so she was getting high before she met him. But one of the show's episodes, she was high, and Bobby had just came back with the children, and so she was sitting there tweaking, and she probably wanted him to get high with her. And then he was kind of like pushing her off, like the children just got here, and let's take care of them. Um, Oh, okay. And uh so he goes off camera and goes in the back, and then when he comes back, he's doing this. A lot of they get on crack, they do like this. I've been on for about 32 minutes. So yeah. I've been on 32 minutes. But yeah, Bobby Brown's back on camera. You see crackheads and even meth heads, they be doing this. My neighbors used to do that shit. It's good, brother. How things in your world? It's really, 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 really good. I was hoping Silva stepped in for a second because I wanted to show him something because I finally was exposed to the camera that they I kind of hipped on, and it's gonna have to be a big pass on the camera. Life's good, brother. But it is. Things are good. But brother Sean, welcome, welcome, definitely welcome. And so I'm glad to find this channel. You remind me of my old coach. Oh, okay, that's smooth. That is definitely smooth. That is definitely smooth. Mm. But he was more like a life coach. Well, that's any way you can get that kind of thing. That's what happens. Is Bobby Brown was supplying Whitney with narcotics? Nah. Whitney could get her own. She didn't need Bobby. Whitney could get her own. I mean, Whitney was so strong and her voice so pure that they had to destroy her. Destroying her was the only way they was going to conquer her money. They didn't want her to become kind of like what Michael had. Michael was a good businessman, and Michael fucked around and damn near bought Sony off out under their ass. And they made sure that if it was like I was saying with Richard Pryor, they found out that he wasn't strong when he was an addict, as far as his businesses and being on top of everything. So when he went to Africa and came back one time, when he's on Johnny Carson, where he has this stick he had made like a cane, he was on his shit. And you could see he was on his shit, but you know what they want to do. Just like after he got burnt and tried to kill himself, all them people with them drugs right back at him to keep him weak. So he's fucking Richard Pryor, like the way Jim Brown described it. This motherfucker is, burnt scabs all over, and he's back freebasing again. When he went home. And that's Jim Brown's words. So, you know, addiction is a motherfucker. I mean, it really is. You can become addicted to so many different things. Like, remember Kurt Franklin was on motherfucking Oprah talking about his addiction, that all he did is beat his meat and watch porn and shit. He's right on Oprah. Hey, smooth mixed light skin goddess. Thank you. Lakers looked awful. Yeah, they did. They did. They seemed to turn off for Melo. Yeah, because he's the main catch and shoot. But that's my thing of getting rid of Caldwell Pope. That made no sense. The manipulation shot you cannot miss now. It's the way you point it out. It makes it more obvious. And that's Sam. Some ballers aren't as great as they seem. Nah, definitely Seth ain't. Like I'm not saying they can't be good, but he's a creation. Whitney sold her soul, according to people. They claim that they died and came back, and she was not in heaven. They offered her. Yeah, but I'm saying what you got to understand is the tones that she could put out was almost like any other. Look at what is the fifth element? Look at the fifth element and that thing that they put the crystal in at the end. Remember, she didn't really sing. She just pretty much did tones. You know, a little bit of opera, but the point is, Whitney was that close to creating a tone that had never been there before. Like I was telling people why I don't like Billie Holiday. I hate her music. I mean, I hate Billie Holiday music. I can't stand to listen to it because the vibration she puts out is just so opposite and negative to me that I can't listen to her. I just can't listen to her. But she did. But what Whitney put out there, and the possibilities that she had was like never before. Now, I don't give it to Mariah Carey because they turned her out even before she became what she was. Hers was kind of payback. Even though she had a gift, I don't think her gift was as strong as Whitney's. And so, of course, they had to help her destroy herself because, again, she had the ability to control the world. I really think Whitney could have controlled the world. But yeah, she, eventually she sold her soul. You seen that 3 McMill hit? Seen that 3 McMill hit? Super suspect. He ain't acting like that. He barely put something on from deep and it switched in. Oh, okay. Yeah. Now I guess I missed him. DMX was the worst? No, I don't think DMX was the worst. I don't think he was the worst. What you gotta figure is Richard Pryor was buying kilos of cocaine. They said on his biography shit that they snorted a kilo. They freebased a fucking kilo in 3-4 days, which is some bullshit. But he had a multi heart attacks from getting high. Like if you watch that Snowfall when they showed Len Bias, and I don't know if people understood my video. Maybe I should have put Len Bias, but motherfuckers that knew about him as a player, his nickname was Frosty. Frosty is on his tombstone. So that's why I called it the recreation of the dying of Frosty, because that's what everybody called him. That's what he really went by. He went by Frosty because he was so smooth. They staged that Whitney Houston and YouTube death. She seen right before hugging Brandy and was all happy, and she got a promotion. But she gave Brandy a note too. Remember that? She gave Brandy a note, and then she was with Clive Davis. She says that Teller's her uncle, but like they said, when she died, it was just so sad. All the capped on teeth, all that shit, a wig. And her body was just horrible. Same with Michael Jackson. It was a ball man. Michael that got that burn so bad that got him addicted to pills. And I think that was on purpose too. I think that was an attack on him, and he didn't see it. I mean, it's no way the pyrotechs don't understand that Jerry curl cream or gel will flame up pretty quickly if you get it near fire. But no, I think that was an attack, and that was purposeful. They purposeful did. And what's interesting, if you look at the Michael Jackson fire, he was burning and didn't know it. His hair was on fire. And so that's why it burned so much, because it built so much. For some reason, he didn't feel it right away, So, but Michael Jackson, you got to include Michael Jackson. He was a heavy drug addict. I mean, what person needs fucking anesthesia to go to sleep? That's dead sleep. What person would need that? That's a drug addict. Prince, looks like Prince too. Tupac gonna come back? I don't think so. She died in a tub. Dying in a tub is symbolic of something, I believe. Yeah, it is. It's a ritual. Really, it's a ritual of going down. It's a ritual of like Titanic shit. You know, we're suffocating the sound, and they did the same thing to her daughter. Killing my day. We seen that video where they show MJ out of the back of the van ambulance. Yeah, but you know, and he wasn't that tall. He wasn't that tall. I know when I was in fifth grade, he was probably taller than me, but not as a man. Not as a man, he wasn't taller than me. And that's the first time I saw him live was fifth grade. He was doing a robot. He was a motherfucker. I mean, I think it was Dancing Machine too. And let me tell you my story. Shit, you know, when I was 12, I just wanted a motorbike, a little mini bike or something. We lived near trails and shit, and all the people had it. Remember the little neighbor girl had one, you know. And I'm thinking I want that shit. I go down for my birthday, and they give me a goddamn $50 bill and the fucking Dancing Machine album. I was like, you cheap motherfuckers. I was in trouble almost all the summer, but that's what I told them. I'm like, you motherfuckers is cheap. But I'm glad they didn't, because it would have made me a different kind of dude. Oprah doesn't own her show. Jewish Faith own it, just like Jay-Z doesn't. Right? Yeah, that's I see that. I would give that a little love there. Yeah, I would give that a little love. They offer these celebs, not all of them die generally. Many are taken out. Yeah, some are taken out. Some are given new identities and play different characters. Yep. Nah, he wasn't even that tall. He was more like 5'8", 5'7". He wasn't 5'10". What about Ike and Tina Turner? Ike for a drug addict. I mean, Ike was such a drug addict that in his 70s, you know, already having heart problems, somebody took him a rock because this motherfucker wasn't walking around. You know, he wasn't driving himself around. This motherfucker was in a hospital bed in his crib, and somebody fucking brought him a rock. So that person ain't guilty that brought him the rock. You know, even if he called a motherfucker, hey, Henry, you know, bring that shit over here, you know. Well, damn, do you really need that shit? You know, Richard Pryor told a joke like his dope dealers didn't even want to give him dope. He was on it so tough. That story where MJ beat Pac up in the studio, I was dying when these rappers swear they was real. Beat him up, huh? Yeah, he's like 5'7". Yeah, he wasn't that tall. He was quite a bit shorter than me. None of them mugs. Jackie, I think, is the tallest, and Jermaine. You know, Jermaine was the first that had a fully do. You know, the fake hair, dude, like, you know, molded clay on his head. He made that popular. And I'll just say this: if I ever bash sisters, I'm gonna bash them like this. Like, why do all the TV women have the same type hairstyle? Now, I don't expect it to be weave, but damn, I mean, sisters that got natural hair don't wear it the way they show it on TV. And I made a video about that on my other channel. I talked about that on Facebook about 2 years ago. I'm like, what the fuck? What sisters walk around looking like that? And it's wigs. They get these sisters wigs. It's like the Afro kind of Frederick Douglass kind of thing going. You know, what was his name on the Simpsons? You know, the one that tried to kill Bart and shit. They give them that kind of hair. They give them that kind of hair. It's like universal when they show sisters. Remember the lady that bugs her eyes, and you know, and I should have made a video of that, because when the chick bugged her eyes, like I showed the McDonald commercial. Again, this is old ritual, old fucking Stephen Fett shit. You know. No, he didn't. I agree. Wasn't allowed to be a child. You know, them dudes, what was 10, 11 when they had I Want You Back? Yeah. Because fuck, I was like, I think Mike was 3 years older than me. So Marlon's about 4, and you know, it goes on up like that. And my aunt knew Joe, because my aunt's husband was a cop in Chicago. So they knew Joe. And they knew them. And they first had the original 45 of I'm a Big Boy. That was really their first release, and it didn't really go anywhere. I'm a big boy now, and you're a big, you know, that's about all I remember of the shit. But it's on the first album. And I remember my aunt had the first album. Remember, she watched me one day, and we played it all day. Jasmine hair looked like a Ken Barbie doll. Jermaine's hair. Yeah. Sideshow Bob. Yeah, that's how all the sisters on TV hair look. And that's not bashing. I'm just saying, you know, you ain't got to necessarily wear the weave, but them be wigs too. You know, they supposed to be natural and them be weaves, you know. To just actor, they say MJ was tougher than he acted like when Cam was around. Who knows? He had to be tough, all that bullshit they put him through. You know, like let me photograph your dick and shit so we can compare it to testimony. You know, that was just harassment. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I really don't. I don't know about that. I don't think he was caught doing that. They sold out as children. Yeah. And his daddy sold him out. To make you have to sell out. That's how it works. Yeah, most of the time it does work like that. You gotta it's fame is really hell. You know, fame is really hell. If you want to know what hell is, it's fame. Because you have to go into the depths to get to fame. And so you might can't come back from that. Do you think they will make Jay Morant the face of the fact NBA seems to get a lot highlights on TV? Maybe. Um, Small dudes ain't never really been the face. And Steph is bigger than him. And I'm saying small dudes. Who's the last small dude that was the face of the NBA? I couldn't tell you. Last small person. I couldn't tell you. Could not tell you. He was possibly framed. Once again, black dude was great. They tried to defame him, I believe. Yes, I agree with that. I agree with that. But more than that, you know, it was a way of control. And like what really came out, if you really looked at what came out with R. Kelly, uh, what came out was that, you know, people was taking them children over there to him. You know, any kind of fame, he flying these people across the country. You know how many parents love that? You know how many parents don't care? You know, they get money, they getting these trips paid for. Do you know how many parents that you know, and like the first one that sued him, he saw that. He saw that. Now, I say one thing that sounds bogus. I understand it and I don't understand it. They talked one time that Michael and Dude went swimming and then they went to the showers and they both showered. Now, maybe I don't think I would shower around a child that wasn't mine. Even like 11, 12-year-old, my sons, I wouldn't shower in the open like that. If it was just open showers, like when you go to a gym, my house, not a stranger. Maybe my children, but definitely not a stranger. So I thought if that was a real event, that was Tommy. Probably one of them. Probably more of a warlock. I would say more of a warlock. No doubt. Yeah, I would say can't put them past them. They don't. They don't. Chloe, I could see them using the injury script. Kaylin. Well, you know, I guess I'll take it back. The face, but Iverson was never the face. They never really made Iverson the face. Like Iverson, you didn't see a lot of crazy Reebok commercials. Not like there was no real push from Reebok to push Iverson out there. And then remember what Stern did. Stern said you got to wear suits from now on. You can't wear jerseys to the games. Even if you live in California summertime, you got to wear a suit. And that's really how Michael Jordan dressed. But again, you know, look at the age difference between Michael Jordan and Michael Jordan was looking at himself as a businessman. Where, you know, you looked at Iverson. Iverson was never going to be no businessman. He was, this is who I am. And so Stern tried to take that out of there by making everybody look like businessmen. And a lot of brothers didn't get it. But that's what Michael was trying to show you, be a businessman. uh, yeah. Yeah, Lorenzo, that's a good one. That's definitely a good one. It really was. I wouldn't shower around one at all. Amber Rose would take her clothes off in front of her son years ago. She's a chick. It's different. Yeah, chicks is definitely a little different with that naked stuff. Like my daughter don't even like showering over here with my son and I. And she lives not far, but it's like when she stays, I have to take her back home because when she was little, she took baths in that tub, just a few years ago. And so now, and I respect it. I'm like, if that's what makes you feel comfortable, that's what I do. I'll take her to home and she takes her showers at home. You know, they hated Iverson for a good 8-9 years. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, that's what the closest one I could think that's small that would be close to it, because again, you didn't see him doing the mass amount of commercials for Reebok, even though he was one of Reebok's top sellers. I mean, at the time, the Iversons, even though they was ugly shoes, they was right there with the Jordans. And then when he came out with the answer ones, I mean, those might have surpassed Jordans. And then the patent leather, those I had the light patent leather ones. Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember what those was called, but I love them shoes. Those was, I mean, the answers, the second generation shoes was so freaking comfortable. He was a weirdo. Roads lead to Rome. There you go. And Rome is still exists. Rome, Babylon, and not even Rome. Babylon still exists. If you don't think that they don't still worship Babylon, and see, that show you that it's Marduk, but it go back to Yabatha. It's that same old archetype. This thing that's been around forever that is recreated. I mean, like the Matrix tell you, something that's created, destroyed, recreated, destroyed, created multiple ones. I mean, it's all the same kind of thing. And this thing has been been around for forever. That's why they all want to live, because they know once you get to even Yabatha knows, once you get to your spiritual path, you have no need for him. What did they say in War of the Gods? Once the people believe in themselves enough, quit believing in us, we don't exist. If you don't believe, they don't exist. That's the difference between belief and awareness. In awareness, you know. You experience. You don't believe. It ain't no blind faith. Where's he at? Where's he at? Jesus, where you at? So yeah, it's Babylon. The blue and red tip Iversons. Yeah, those was comfortable. Really going back to the Shaqs. The Shaqs was that round of shoe, when those came out, like you said, the red and blue tip ones, those were some of the most comfortable shoes ever created, I thought. Now, of course, we're talking about 20 plus years ago, but those at the time matched Jordans. They matched Jordans. 14s was my favorite Jordans of hooping. 14s was where they put it all together. But those Iversons, those few years of Shaq to Iversons, the padding they put in those shoes was probably at the time some of the best. Whew. So I love those shoes. The only problem I had is as I got older, my foot got a little wider, and Reeboks tend to be narrow. Like I talked about when I first got plantar fasciitis, and I thought, a new pair of shoes would help me. And Reeboks have narrow toes, even though the walls were really, really comfortable. Like I didn't like the Jordans that had that, or Nikes that had that opening. And a lot of the new ones kind of do that. And Reebok had even there, like the walls had a little bit of that, but it was better with the zigzag pattern. It was a little better. But I hate it. Like even the 34s or 35s have that little opening there. And that doesn't really make a comfortable shoe at all. When you put that little opening under your foot and, the support is in the back and then your toe, but that opening's in there. They did that on the Jerry Stackhouses, maybe. Maybe that's the Nike I'm thinking about, the Jerry Stackhouses. But wasn't a very comfortable shoe. I ended up giving them away. I couldn't hoop in them. Caribbean woman being nude around their children. A woman in the chat that's from the island defended it. Even dark man from the island said that's not normal. Yeah, it's not normal. It's not normal. I don't think I've ever seen my mother naked. I mean, she breastfed me, but I don't think I ever saw my mother naked. I can never, man. Yep. I don't ever think I ever saw my mother naked. I'll tell you this. I guess my mother has big boobs. She's short with big boobs. I didn't even know it until my ex-wife mentioned it. I never looked at her like that. I never noticed. But I was like, we was buying some clothes from her, and she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, my mother has big boobs. She's like, your mother has huge boobs. What are you talking about? I'm like, I never noticed. As a child and a young man, I never looked at her. I never noticed. Jordans, what does it say? Jordan 11 is always going to be the best for me. You have to hoop in though, Lorenzo. The 11s to hoop in. And what was the 12s? The 12s was like the Concords. Okay, yeah, because that's when the Carolinas came out, the patent leather ones. Yeah, the 12s, the 11s. I think was it the Concords were very comfortable too. Very comfortable too. I'll say that. They were very comfortable. And then the ones where they had the two tones, maybe those was the 11, 12s. I'd have to get the picture to remember them all. But it was like 3 or 4 years where they were really, really good shoes. And then the 14s were, to me, the peak ones. And I told the story before. Nike had a program. If the shoe failed and it was something like if you had the air pocket failed and you didn't stab nothing, you was just playing and it failed, you could send it to Nike. And I guess they still do that. Nike will send you back money because the air pockets used to fail on the Maxes. But the 15s was probably the worst ever. You see, they ain't remade them 15s that had the spat, you could take the spat off and on. I remember I tried to hoop in them. The grip was terrible. They were flat. There wasn't hardly any cushion in the shoe, but the grip was terrible. The grip was terrible. And oh, there is Jody. We got to give Jody the applause. As I said, Jody sends me all her videos, and Sly highlighted her work tonight, which was outstanding. Outstanding. Jody put some outstanding work. I understand, Jody. I mean, Sly said that, sometimes he's talking, he don't get her. I get her, I'll say this, Jody, you are a little quirky, because you kind of she'll tell me how she was climbing Mount Rushmore, and then all of a sudden she'll switch to when she used to work on a Camaro. I'm like, okay, I'm just joking. I'm just joking, Jody. I'm like following Mount Rushmore, then she'll switch up on me. It's like, well, that Camaro, I couldn't get the distributor out. And I'm like, okay. But no, Jody's, when Jody came on my other show a couple times, that's why I was calling her just Jody. The ad kicks in. ADD kicks in. So, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. She puts out some good information, and I'm sorry if I haven't highlighted your channel enough. She puts out such good information. Subscribe to her, see what she's about. Because as far as Hollywood and Ritual, I mean, even she's been exposed lifetime of it, and she exposes it. But a bunch of secret societies as well. Secret society shit as well, So she's found her niche. Jody has found her niche, and that's the thing that we've all tried to do is we all try to, we all try to put out the information where it's tentacles for everybody to go to the different tentacles that you see, and so you get a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there, and you find out what you vibe with, what you vibrate with. That's what it is. That's how information should come in. That's why I get mad at people, because people don't want to tell the whole story. People want to tell you fluff. They want to talk about people without being around it about the whole person. They want to tell you little bits about a person instead of saying, well, okay, well, this motherfucker's about this shit too. So each one teaches one. We all hold the keys. Indeed we do. Indeed we do. Until we find the holy key, as he says, the holy key. That's the key to open up yourself to awareness. I mean, like when the Circle 7 calls each other gods, that's a good point, because really it's the God in you. That's what you learn from Reverend Ike, the God in you. Jordan 3s are the worst shoes to play in. Oh, definitely. 1, 2s, and 3s. 2s wasn't as bad. There was a little more support in 2s. I enjoy the channel. Yeah, she has good stuff. Yeah. I would say the 2s was a great up from the 1s. The 1s, there's no way I'd ever play in them. Again, when the original Nikes came out, I hate I took my Pro Keds back. It was kind of, we was all doing that shit, because they was probably the leather Pro Keds I had, they were so light, and I end up getting the fucking Dr. J's and heavy Dr. J's instead of getting the Nikes. But those first Nikes, there wasn't no padding in them. There was a leather shoe, but the padding wasn't shit, and having arch problems and shin problems. The best shoe at the time was really The shoe I wore in ninth grade was the what is it? The All Star, the all was it the Adidas All American Kareem shoe, the shoe that Kareem kind of made popular, and they made them in like a nylon. That's what I played in as a freshman, and those shoes were great. Those shoes were great, low cuts, and again, the cup is what holds your foot in. Yeah. So yeah, I've tried all them. It's like I can't really wear dress shoes and gaiters and shit, so I don't buy $600 gaiters anymore because I ain't got $600 wearing feet anymore. Fours are the worst. Okay, fours are the worst. Okay, I have to look at them. But a lot of them shoes is like other shoes I was hooping in. Like I had a pair of I bought a pair of Nikes to hoop in like 90, 91 semi-pro season. And they look blue. Like when you was holding them, they look blue. But when you played in them to the people sitting in the stands, they look purple. But when you held them, they look blue. But from far away, they look purple. And I can't, they're on the chart. If you look at Nikes, you can find, I can't remember what, because I found them. I'm like, oh shit, them the ones. But it's like everybody noticed because they was like, I had purple shoes. But when you was putting them on, they didn't look purple. But far away, they looked purple. They was that blue. I missed the and one days. And one day they had terrible shoes. Those shoes were terrible. That's why they end up at Walmart. They were terrible shoes. How long I've been going? Okay, I go Goku. Shit, and one used to come to Michigan's and dudes would be like locking them up and shit. They wouldn't go back. They had dudes that they try to play, and the dudes would dog them in Michigan, lock them up, play tight D, make them play for real. So they would get frustrated and not want to go back to Michigan. But it's just funny, like we have so much information coming out, and one thing that quantum of science that I agree with is like they want us to see shit, the mistakes they make. They want you to see that. They want people to talk about it. As I was saying, they try to make things stay alive after even the events are over, or even like talking about celebrities. You keep them alive by these bullshit stories they put out there. Like right now, they're doing a thing on like they did with Don Canarius on fucking Hugh Hefner and what was going on there. Like who gives a fuck? Like who gives a fuck? Like that Hugh Hefner and them was getting high and chicks was getting sacrificed. I mean that's the name of the game. I mean, they all know that. And you got all these, and it's I'll tell you, I am not attracted to women that put all that Botox in their face. It just I turned down this chick that was quite wealthy. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't look at her. And it's just like all I saw was a face that had no movement. It was just a stiff ass face. And it's like, I can't do it, honey. I just can't do it. That's too fake looking to me. Well, China invade Taiwan. I don't care. That's they shit. Fuck Taiwan. Shit, goddamn. What is his name? The Dalai Lama. You think the Dalai Lama is a holy man? You think the Dalai Lama is good? 11 Path and leather Jordans. Oh, okay. Oh, they made a Croc in a way they would stay on playing ball over it. Croc super comfy. The whole fam wear them. My son he liked wearing that shit. He should have bought a pair. They had a pair of 13s with the woolly, with the sock inside. I was surprised he didn't buy it. He's like, oh, they're white, Dad. They're white, Dad. So I'm like, I don't know why you didn't buy them. But Crocs are, some of them are more comfortable than others. I'll say that. But in the summertime, I got a pair, but nothing beats the Bounce Adidas. Yeah, I'm going to order the black pair when it gets summer. I got the white and black ones. The Bounce Adidas slides, and nothing beat them. That's what I walk around my house with. Here you go. And they don't even make Bounce anymore, but you can buy these motherfuckers. Ain't nothing more comfortable than this to walk around in, especially outside. I'm getting a pair to new ones because this is what I walk in the house in. This is the most comfortable shit out there. Right there. I don't even them Nikes. Nikes tried to make shit like this, and this is the old Bounce technology. These help my dogs heal. But I'm gonna wear the black pair all summer. But I don't give a fuck about Taiwan. Shit, the Dalai Lama ain't no holy man. He the same thing. He got the same master. New balls is life. Now it's ball is life. They try to be like and one. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Ball is life. Okay, I saw them because there's some new semi-pro leagues that have been coming on one of my channels, and I didn't know who the hell they was. What does it say here? Smooth. Do you think Putin fighting back against the New World Order? That could be. As I was saying, my brother sent me that thing and talking about how much mafia was in the Ukraine. He was saying that the Ukraine was run by the mafia, and that's one of the reasons he attacking their ass. My brother sent that to me. There's large. That's why he said Nazis. He was saying Nazis, and a lot of Nazis had something to do with the mafia too. Jordan's retro shoes are the most dope. Yeah, they ain't comfortable though. They ain't comfortable. I'm gonna say this: they are not comfortable. The retros are not comfortable. They don't make performance shoes anymore in retro. They will make walking around shoes. Their performance shoes. Their performance shoes are the 34s and on up. Those versions. But the retros, they're not performance shoes. They flat. They flat, and they don't put the juice in them to make them why people bought them. Again, when I was, my peak from the Jordan probably 10s to the Jordan 17s, and again, the 15s wasn't shit, was for performance because they was the best shoe to hoop in. And, I'm playing, I mean, people don't understand how the semi-pro thing works. I'm playing semi-pro on Tuesday, Wednesday morning, and then Thursday. But in between then, I'm playing pickup ball every day. I mean, literally playing pickup ball every day because again, when you play semi-pro, where there's no practices really. We ain't really running plays like that. We just hooping. And so, I'm hooping 7 days a week, almost nonstop if I ain't working. And that's the life of a hooper. A gym rat, a hoop junkie. That was the life I led. That's why people, even though I was a hustler, people knew I wasn't that strung out because I'm in the gym hooping all the time. And there wasn't too many people that was strung out that could hoop every day because people saw me at the gym every day. And then when I started reffing, when I started reffing, I would get done. I would have to time it or who scheduled it. They would have to time my game into when they scheduled for me to do games. So sometimes I'll get done doing a game and then go ref some games. That's why I was going in the sister slide. Her face all oily and shit. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like not to bash women, but a lot of women ain't getting it like that. That's the thing. Not just now. Any woman can just get somebody, but what happens is women get in their 40s. Now it changes for men too, but I'll stick on women for a while. When women hit their 40s, it changes. There's their dating life, their social life, and sometimes you see some women getting more desperate. Because that cuteness kind of leaves. Like my ex-wife had a cute, baby face up until she hit 30, and then that baby face just disappeared. And now she's 47, and so that cuteness leaves, and attracting high quality men for some leaves, especially when you ain't got a lot going on. I mean, for what she has going on is what she attracts. And so, she's at a certain level. She lives on the north side where, she put herself in some situations. It's hard for her to get places, and that's on her. Her actions put her there. So, she's kind of stuck living in the hood where, it's almost like Dodge City at times. So, working together overtime, just built like an ATL close to the Turner Sports, all part of the machine now. They got Kevin Ollie and my boy Ryan. And Kevin Ollie got his money. You see how Villanova had to pay Kevin Ollie? They had to pay him his $11 million. I think that came in early February or January maybe. But yeah, he won his court case against Villanova or wherever he coached. I won't say Villanova. And let me say this, what I loved about Kevin Ollie. When Kevin Ollie played for the Timberwolves, Kevin Ollie drove a Lincoln. He drove an older town car. So whatever years he lived there, he drove an older town car. Because I remember a couple of times seeing him driving because the way they park, it's like if you, the side, you can see where everybody pulls in. But I remember just walking, and I was like coming from eating dinner, and I was gonna walk and go to the game because this is, you know, restaurant not too far. And I just remember seeing him drive by and shit. But you know, he saved his money, was smart, and he sued the motherfuckers. Working for them now. Okay, okay, that's good. Wait, it's changed for men. I thought we get better in age. No, no. It changes when you get 50. When you get 50, it changes for men. I mean, even when you got money, it still changes. It's like you could women when you got money and you 50, people women try to see if you a simp. But fire is just the overall attraction idea. 50 seems to be like an old man. You know, it really is conceived like that. Precede that 50 is kind of an old man, and some women, now there are women that like older men. I mean, that's never gonna go away, you know, but it just the way you perceive changes. And my mother and I were talking about that, where you know the same thing, women see the same thing. And why you think them people do all that Botox in their face? Because they don't like wrinkles in their face. Which I was 22 is like, it was this hot 41-year-old. She was trying so hard to holler at me when I was working. I missed out. When I was 24, I was banging this 54-year-old church woman. She used to tell me the weirdest stories. And I've told the story before where her preacher. I don't know how we were near where the preacher was, but the preacher got stuck with another man, where his penis got stuck in this other man, and they had to call people to come get him. I don't know how I saw it, but it was on the news too. But I was somewhere where I saw him bring them out, and they brought him out kind of like on a stretcher together, and he was like hovered over him, and they tried to cover him. Shit was funny, but it was like two well-known preachers. Shit stuck up in his ass, because you know sometimes you get erection, they got to give you, and it won't go. You know, you 2-3 hours, that shit get to hurting. But they had to give you a shot to make that shit go down. But yeah, but she was a weird lady. She was a really weird, churchy lady, but just shows you. Women values based on youth looks more. Yeah, 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 somewhat. Yeah, UConn. Oh yeah, UConn had the pain. Now Villanova. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for hard hitting. Thank you. Yeah, UConn had to pay. I love middle-aged women because they love young guys sometimes. Yeah, yeah, that's them trying to hold on to their youth. But you know, like I said before, when I was 44, I was dating a chick that was 20. She in her 30s now, or she's probably just about 30. And it's the difference between a 40 or a 30. What was my wife then? My ex-wife. She was probably 36, 37. And this chick was 20 and her body was tight. I'm still cool with her. She just sent me some video of a function she did. But yeah. Uh, UConn fans hate Ali because he was lazy recruiting. Donovan Mitchell was from the Jazz, was playing right at the prep school in Connecticut, and coach from Louisville got him on a plane. Wow. Wow. Could have been. You got to be had a personality where you up in the parents' face. That's the difference between college and pro. You got to be in their face in college. You got to be in the parents' face. You know, you got to be courting. You know, they want you to court their child the whole time to show interest. You know, they want you up in them stands. uh, and he get in the car to see him play, but he's a great, great guy. uh, you know, and I never hung with him. Really, like the crew I hung with was Sam Mitchell, JR, what's his name, Mark West. But you know, after that, I didn't really know a lot of the cats. I wasn't going to the games as much as I once did. Ah. But you know, it's cool that getting old is cool because you do get the wisdom to getting old, and you I'm not bashing my ex, but like my ex don't like being lonely. You know, she gets lonely and she don't like living in the house by herself. Her house got robbed. You know, she set up some. She was fucking with somebody and they did some bullshit, which caused her to get robbed. But she brought that in her because she's scared to be by herself. And the boys don't always want to stay with her. You know, all our children together are grown. And it's like the one that lived with me. All his friends live out here. So he'd rather be out here. Now my other son lives like not even a block away from her, like a half a block away from her. But you know, he into his thing. He play video games all day. So they ain't. And then his friend be at work. So it's like they can't lay up, you know, around her all the time. So she brings men in her life because she gets, she be scared to be alone. I'm 25 now, old man, but I think plenty of water, vitamin. That's good. But 25 ain't old. I remember being 16 and my cousin turned 24, and I was like, damn, that nigga's old. I was like, God damn, he's old. Most women don't want to be single. They say that, but not true. Well, I think some people are comfortable in their own skin, and don't have to depend on someone else. I think that's how we got to look at it. Some people just are comfortable, male or female, and they don't necessarily to be great. They don't necessarily need something. But I said last night, the majority of the people in the world are married, or America, most people are married. Church women are some weird ass. Oh my goodness, this chick. She would tell me stories and shit. Like she told me the story. This she told me a story how this preacher, because she had like her breasts were so big, she literally back then in the early 80s had to wear two bras. I mean, they were that big. And she was telling me like how a preacher used to pray on her breasts to make them smaller. And I'm like, show me how he did it. She's like, come here, I'll show you. And press my face, but it was like, it's like, well, how did he do that? But it was just funny. That was her way of initiating shit. It was just so funny. But she's like, yeah, Reverend so-and-so would come over here twice a day to pray on them. I'm like, I see it didn't get any smaller. She's like, they probably got a little bigger. So, but it was just funny because it just funny situation. So I kicked it with her for a minute. And she was Aunt B, she, other than big breasts, she wasn't, she looked like 50-year-old woman looked like in the 80s. I mean, she looked like Aunt B. She wasn't shapely other than having some really big breasts, but she wasn't shapely at all. She wasn't shapely at all. But she was cute for the times. But super, wanna get freaky all day Saturday and then want to go to church Sunday and sing and pray. And it was like, no, honey, you go do you. I can't be up in there like that. So it was kind of funny. It was kind of funny. Oh, how much? Okay. Wasn't shapely. No, she was Aunt B, on Mayberry. And that's like somebody did a science I saw today said, Title IX, but that's Title IX changed European women. I mean, it really did. That was to change how they look. Really was. And I'm the only one that really points that out. Title IX changed how American European women look. And that was the point of it because they had Aunt B's. As I said before, like my generation of European women, some of them would have big boobs, but they'd be flat. Rarely would you see a shapely butt. Every now and then, but you rarely would. But now we're 3 generations past that. Volleyball, softball, more active. And Title IX was to make their women look different. Yep. What are you? She had some fun bags. Oh yeah, she really did. Surprising, nothing happened today. 322, yeah. 3322, yeah. Hard hitting. Yeah, nothing really happened today. Were you raised as a Christian and did you knew it wasn't for you? It was kind of a little bit of everything. Like my grandfather's mother, even though I didn't really know my real grandfather, his mother was Roman Catholic because somewhere in there was Irish. I don't really, the story changes with them, but somewhere in there, American Indian married an Irish woman and then end up having her through somewhere. Matter of fact, that gentleman, the original gentleman, was killed for marrying just an Irish immigrant woman. And so my aunt tended to stay with Roman Catholic and be Catholics. So I stayed with my aunt a lot. And so I would have to go to church with all them. I tell you what would happen though. People would knock on the door and get you rides to go to church. And I remember when I was in 2nd grade, my parents let me go to some fucking Christian church by myself. I went with whoever the church was. It wasn't no van or that shit. I rode with somebody and surprising, nothing bad happened to me. But I remember they didn't take me. So my parents was the generation that broke away from the church because they was forced to go to church. So my parents broke away. My father, my stepfather, and my mother. Now their families, my mother's family became Baptist. They became Baptist. My grandmother, she divorced from my grandfather. He was more Roman Catholic. She wasn't. She was, my great grandfather was more Baptist. But my stepfather and my father's family were all Pentecostal, holy rollers. So when my parents didn't go to church, I wouldn't go to church. And of course, as we moved to Kalamazoo from the smaller town of Cass, where my stepfather's from. We never went to church. Yeah. And I became started Islam my senior year in high school. And so I started going to the mosque on my own my senior year in high school. So I've been to mosque number 1 in Detroit, been to, I think that's mosque 3, 4 in Chicago. I've been all through them. I saw Elijah Muhammad speak. I saw Farragon speak. The one brother they killed, I saw him even speak. So, but that was on my own. I read Malcolm X, and that shit made sense to me. Especially when he says, you take a one step towards Allah, and Allah takes 2 steps to you. And then I love what Malcolm X says, that all praise is due to Allah, only the mistakes are mine. I thought that was some real shit. All mistakes were mine. 33 Masons and 3223 bones through somebody was gonna die or staged event. You've been listening to Zach, yeah. As I said before, every event ain't worth decoding. Some of that shit, just fuck it. Why you care? Has surprised me. I think he's going to be like Harden, all offense but no defense. Right now, he's proved me wrong. Yeah, because he'll block some shots and he'll get back. He's quick enough to get back and stay in front of people. So he does make a little bit of an effort. You say you was a Viking fan before. I buy the Viking gear just because it's cheap here. Viking gear is cheap. And so I buy Viking gear. The Eagles gear here ain't cheap. People send me shit, or they'll order it for me. Like I got the Eagles coat my son bought, the starter coat my son bought me. The shit ain't cheap here. But Twins, the hockey shit ain't cheap either. Sometimes you get the hockey shit, but it's overall it ain't cheap. Hockey jerseys stay at a couple $100. I mean, you really got to hit the sales to get a real hockey jersey, or order them. They're a little cheaper ordering them. But I'm pretty much, I grew up liking the Yankees because I love Mickey Mantle. I really did. I was a little boy when Mickey Mantle was playing well. So I really loved the Yankees because of Mickey Mantle. Didn't really know the history of baseball that much, but I love Mickey Mantle. Some events are authentic, not all staged or rituals, but many are. I agree. There ain't no oogie boogie behind everything. Shaq O'Neal showed off his Freemason live on TV. Yeah, of course. Just like they got the pictures of Jay-Z. They want to show that off. They've got Shaq with the apron. Unstoppable right now. Celtics lucky started slow tonight. Yeah, well, he's a little outgunned too so far. Yeah, he showed it off for the first time in 11. Yeah, they show, it's no. They know. I mean, there's a picture of Richard Pryor with like the Flintstones called it the Grand Poobah hat. There was pictures of Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor was a Mason. So it ain't nothing new. It ain't nothing new. Not at all. Don't mean nothing. Not a thing. So don't be surprised by these people. Boston Bruins Stanley Cup. I'm saying the Wild. I like the Wild. What do you drink water out of? It was copper cup. Yeah, right here. Just copper with sugar in it. Big chunks of sugar in it. And I need to rotate this sugar. Probably need to order some more. But yeah, I need a copper water bottle, bigger copper water bottle. Boston is hockey town. No. That's absolutely wrong. We got to give him that. Boston is not hockey town. Detroit is hockey town. Minnesota is hockey state. So get that right, buddy. It is not. It is not. You still in Michigan, OG? No. I live in Minnesota. Yeah, I live in Minnesota. I didn't know what religion my mama's side partaking until I got older. As a child, the only person I knew partake in any type of church was my grandma's husband. And all he did was watch Bobby Jones Gospel. He was like, yeah, I'm not taking my ass in church. I watch Bobby Jones on cable. Oh, that's a good one. See you. You got to get me a copper cup or at the shop. These these are not Moscow Mule cups because a lot of them they're copper over stainless. They be stainless inside. You want copper all around. It's just the upkeep on them. I've got little cups that have aged better than these. Like some of these I couldn't get all the zinc out of, So about 3 of them. I've got 4 and 2 I use and 2 I don't use. So Massachusetts, it is not. Yep, Minnesota Twins games. Oh, I love the Twins. So relaxing. Football is my state, Texas. Okay. Patriot Act. Yeah. But yeah, I've been, like I mentioned before, I started going to watch the college, Western Michigan. The colleges played outside in the 60s and the early 70s until they built the stadium at Western Michigan. But for years, they played outside. They just didn't put the money into hockey like that, even though it was like Western had one of the earliest hockey schools in the nation. They played outside. It was part of the winter. You played hockey outside. It's out for a long time. Hockey was an outside sport, especially in college and definitely in high school and little boys. Yeah. Like up here, it's like all our parks have hockey rinks. Like right now, the biggest park near me got 2 hockey rinks and a warming house. So you get cold, you can go in there and warm up. They don't give you free donuts or coffee, but you go in the warming house. You get too cold. Like they have 2 rinks, and then they have a little, like you could just where anybody can skate. Okay, like if they have games, it's a place where people could skate because a lot of them is little boys have games, and then it'd be men, like some semi-pro leagues too. But most of semi-pro leagues they play indoors. But it's semi-pro leagues, hockey all through here. Boston is basketball. I mean, the Basketball Hall of Fame. Oh, yeah, it is there. I got you. Yeah. New York and Chicago are basketball cities. Boston is nothing. I would say yeah. I mean, Detroit is a big basketball city as well, too, but it's known as being a hockey town with the Red Wings and Gordie Howe. That was a lot of Gordie Howe. Gordie Howe, hell, he played to what, 60, 70? So, just sitting. But like the best basketball state is Indiana. And as I said before, Indiana had, like, when you see that, what is the name? Hoosiers, Indiana. If you won state in Indiana, you beat everybody. You had to play, everybody goes for one title. Now they've changed it. Whereas different divisions, like in Michigan, it's A, B, C, D. Here, it's about 8 divisions in this state. I can't say it's a more populated state, but we got more divisions. But Indiana, for a long time, just had one champion. And that champion, got to come out to sectionals. And, you have a school with 3,000 people playing a school with 200 people. There is no, and that's why it should be, if anything should be a movie, it should be Scott Skiles. Scott Skiles shot down mugs that could hoop from Indiana, from Gary, from Indianapolis. I mean, Scott Skiles put it on the state of Indiana. That should be a movie. Would we be better than Hoosiers? Because that dude put it, and he's the all-time game assist leader with like 30, I think. But Scott Skiles shot down Indiana. That is, if you can catch those highlights, he put it on some brothers where they had good teams and tall dudes. Yeah, he was every time down hitting. Scott, Bobby Orr. Yeah, Bobby Orr up in Boston. But Scott Skiles put it on them, and I forget, it was 87, 88, but he put it on. We was going down there to go watch him play because he was killing mugs. And like they put, like WGN was putting his games on. He was killing them so much. And I mean, killing good teams with brothers that could go after it. But yeah, that Jay was just too much for everybody. I bet in that tournament, he probably shot 75%. He put it on them. And this no basket manipulation. This is just dudes. He was just killing the state of Indiana. That's worth a movie, the way he did them. He did the state. And he later went to Michigan State. He was wild at Michigan State. Yeah, WGN, where they used to show Bozo, baby. Bozo. Bozo, WGN. There's right on the Dan Ryan or the Eisenhower. Right on the Eisenhower is big signs to tell you how to go to WGN, and you go sit and be on fucking Bozo's hour. You know, you be sitting there wanting to go where Bozo, you put the little cups and shit, like they had little Bozo buckets, and you throw the ping pong on it. And you know, they would always do the most uncoordinated child. The ping pong, like the bucket would be right under the child, and the child couldn't even get the ball in front of them. Some of them would miss that first bucket, and they'd let them try again. We'll go ahead and try again. And the second bucket was only like 2 feet in front of you. You know, it was like you should be able to really nail all the buckets and get all the big toys. But they had some just uncoordinated children's. uh, it wasn't much worshiping the Lord for Bobby Jones to be that happy. Exactly. Exactly. That's funny. The most fun city to hang out with to me is Chicago. It's a sports town like no other. Their bars are great. Yeah. I'll tell you in the somebody said I went on Bozo as a child. Yep, go into right WGN studio. People don't remember Soul Train used to be on WGN. That's how Soul Train started, right on WGN. People think Soul Train started in California. Don Cornelius is from what, Illinois or Northern Indiana. He's from that area. He used to give parties and shit. He was like a DJ in that area. And then he started, got his studio on WGN and started Soul Train. And those, I don't know how y'all did it out anywhere else in the country, but even before Soul Trains, I went to weddings as a little boy, and we did the Soul Train line. This is in the '60s. Like the first wedding I went to, I was 5. We did something in the wedding, but I remember like being 5, and I can tell you the name of the couples that got married because both of them are not with us anymore. But anyway, we did. I remember the party afterward. We did the Soul Train line again, and that had to be like 64, 65. Yeah. So that was a Midwest thing, was on the Soul Train line. Yep. The most fun. I like Chicago too. I was gonna say, for about 20 years, I refed in Chicago every weekend. We did tournaments every weekend. So I spent for 20 some years, I spent all my weekends. I dated a couple women down there. Almost moved down there. I mean, we was down there so much, I almost moved down there. That drive got to be something. We used to get WGN here in Mississippi, where it became a cable channel too. It became a cable channel. I'm smoking wedding cake. All right, smoke them if you got them. Indeed, yeah, indeed. But yeah, WGN, it became a cable channel. But at one time, it was free TV. If you lived near Chicago, it was free TV. It was part of your what was WGN? I don't remember. We lived in Cass, which Cass, shit, we like half hour, 45 minutes from Gary, and another 30 minutes to go in Chicago. So being that far south, like that's where my family came from, is that far south. Like you come into like you got Benton Harbor. My cousins are married in Benton Harbor, but you hit Benton Harbor, Waterville, and then you start hitting the Decatur exit, which takes you to DeWaljack. And then south of DeWaljack, you go right into Cass. Soul Train started in Chicago in the late 60s. I want to say 68. Yeah, because they went to LA in 71. It was only like a couple years. It was only on there a couple years. And like it would be like the music would stop and he would go up to somebody and say, do you want to dedicate a song? He always had the mic and he was always on the floor. He's like, do you want to dedicate a song? And then the Soul Train was the Soul Train line was much longer. It was a little different, because people in Chicago, dance differently than people in California. They used to show Cubs and White Sox all the time. Yeah, that was my way to take a nap. If Ernie Banks was playing, I knew they would lose, and I would take a nap. So I'd turn the Cubs on and take a good nap because the Cubs would always get their ass whooped. Chicago better than New York. Bears Stadium is best, but they are moving. Their pizza is great. No. Soldier Stadium is no fun at all. No. In the summertime, yes, but in the wintertime, oh no, you sitting on Lake Michigan, baby. Woo, that hawk be out there. And you watch a Bears game in the winter, oh, that is not fun. That is not fun. And Chicago had that hawk. But I would say this, I like working in Chicago, I started liking Chicago even better than Detroit. It was a classy element if you know how to move around Chicago. where the fun parts was, even when we used to give cabarets, I used to rent buildings, give cabarets in Detroit. Even before we was doing raves, we was doing cabarets before rages. And it was always a griminess in Detroit that I didn't. It was places where I could go in Chicago I didn't think was grimy. I never got that feeling in Detroit. It was like everywhere we went, it was that kind of that you got to beware. Like we would go like to see like if they didn't have metal detectors, I always carried a gun in Detroit, always in the clubs wherever. Like cabarets, we patted people down. We had the metal detectors because it's our shit, so we ain't letting people. We had guns, but we ain't letting people come up in there. But the clubs that didn't have metal detectors, shit, it was full of people in them clubs in Detroit with guns. It's like everybody had guns because if they didn't pat you down, you took your guns in there. And if you knew week after week, you always took your guns. We used to get the news, Cubs, White Sox, and Bulls games. Oh yeah, I love the Bulls games. Canada has the best weed. I don't know about that. It's some pretty good shit down here where I'm at. Now my wax I got now is not as good. It's average. But I bought so much of it that it's keeping me funky. I went to see a Bears game in September. It was like 70. Okay. Go in December. That's why they call it the Hawk. Oh yeah, that motherfucker be like Richard Pryor said it'd be too cold where people don't even be racist anymore. It'd be like, I'll be racist in the spring. But it's like you come across a building, like the building is kind of, you cold, but the building is just kind of like, taking some of that chill off. You hit an opening and that hawk will stab you right in the face. Have your shit just, you start getting frostbitten in here and shit. Have your shit all just like getting blue and shit. It gets so cold where it just hit you. And you see people waiting for them L's. Woo, woo. People be out there waiting for the L's, and even though they got the little houses, yeah, it'd be cold in motherfucking Chicago. That's a different kind of cold. That's why they call it the Hawk. Now it's worse here. It's worse here. But being on that river for that city, yeah, yeah. Or on the lake, you on the lake, and they get all that cold off the lake. They get that real cold. Up here, we don't get as much snow, but we get that minus shit. We get that minus shit. So I never, I haven't been to either city, but I always had the feeling Chicago had a better vibe than Detroit. It really did. It really did. I thought so. And I went to Detroit younger. I had relatives in Detroit, family, but like Detroit is like no other place. Like Detroit, you don't go to the club until 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. I mean, it's just the oddest thing. You go to a bar in Detroit at 12, 1, like 11, 12, it don't be anybody up in that motherfucker. But you hit them bars about 1:30, 2 o'clock, they be packed. And then the bars don't get out till motherfuckers leave, like 6. Some of the bars, like our cabarets would always last till 6. So, we wouldn't start putting people out till 6, and it'd be motherfucking jam packed at 5:30 in the morning. Motherfuckers be like, and then, you go to Coney Island, and get you some hot dogs after the club. That's the Detroit experience. Lorenzo, go to Houston. It's a good city. Yeah, I ain't never been to Houston. I only been to northern Texas. But yeah, I like Chicago better, And as I said, I almost moved to Chicago with a young lady because we was working there every weekend. And that's really what kind of brought me here, because I started working further west. I was running into people. And it's like, well, can you come here? And my mother lived here. And I'm like, shit. And I got tired of, going back and forth. And then I started doing football to this part of the country. And so I just started going further and further west. And then we would go down and do tournaments in Iowa for like 2 weeks. We'd do 1 week of the little children, and the next week we would do the high school people. So I was kind of familiar with the areas, because we would do a tournament in Fort Wayne and Spice, and then we would do the other national tournament in Iowa. So we would drive from Fort Wayne, Indiana, then drive all the way to Iowa, and I'd always stop here, then drive down to Iowa, and then spend 2 weeks in Iowa reffing. And I mean, the checks was fat for what we did. They paid for the rooms, they paid for all our meals, gave us, the money, vouchers, whatever the fuck, to get the free meals. They always had parties for us at the end. It was a nice little setup. I mean, the money was fat. The money was really, really worth it for 2 weeks. For 2 weeks, what we did, it was like fat. Yeah, very nice. And, some of them AAU games years ago was paying $25, $30, $40 back 20 years ago. H-Town is the hotbed right now. The economy is booming. Matter of fact, when it comes to southern cities, Houston replaced Atlanta as a place to live in the South to make it. I've got two cousins that live in shit. They've been living there shit probably close to 35 years. My cousin Steve, my cousin Ronnie had moved in, and my cousin Chris, he had a stroke, so he's in a home right now. But slouching and shit. But they've lived down there for a good 30 years. My cousin Steve, he's lived almost all his adult life, and he's shit. What my brother and him just dealt. My brother would be what I think he said 56, so Steve got to be 55, and Steve moved in there, moved to Houston in his 20s because his brothers moved down there. Like at one time, I had four brothers that was all living down there. My other cousin lived down in Kansas City. Um, uh, I was only there for a night before the cruise ship departed. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Houston is the new ATL. Texas is great for economic purposes. I was born in Woodlands outside of Houston. I love it. Okay. Nick lives down, I think Nick lives, I don't know if he lives in Houston, but Nick lives down there. I'm stuck in Canada. I'm not far from Canada. I am unvaccinated, so I can't go on a plane. Oh, okay. You can't go on planes unvaccinated? I thought they changed all that. I thought they changed all that. I thought they changed all that. Because I wanted to go see Bob James. I mean, that's my one of my favorite jazz people was Bob James. He was fucking at Club Dakota, and they got that bullshit. You gotta, or like you gotta. It was like you either had to be vaccinated or you had to go do the test. And you know how like I've never taken them tests, and it's like, yeah, fuck them tests. I didn't love Bob James that much. And fuck a plane, fuck going on the plane. I don't want to see anybody. Like all the people I got to see really is driving distance. Michigan, I can drive to Michigan in 10 hours. So I don't mind doing it. I got the time. I got the time. I ain't got to be in no hurry anywhere without the job. Oh, okay. You could go. Yeah, that's what I thought. I don't think you need it. Yeah, I won't take I won't take them tests. Fuck them tests. I ain't taking one. And I wasn't going to take it to just go see motherfucking Bob James. So fuck that. Fuck that shit, man. Fuck that shit. I'm not going to do that, buddy. This is the United fucking States of the motherfucking America. Yeah, but they had niggas wearing masks in what, 2 weeks? It's still, you ain't got to wear masks, and it's still motherfuckers wearing masks. It's like the brainwashing never goes away. Nick would choose Texas over Detroit in a heartbeat. Oh, fuck yeah. I will say this, like we was talking about, no test, no jab, no mask. Like no shoes, no shirt, no service. I'll say this about Detroit. Like we was talking about Jerry Stackhouse. That was a property at one time I considered because it had dropped from like he paid 18, 19 million. That house was like 3-4 million at the time. And so, but that's a great place to live in Detroit. The beautiful thing about Detroit is I wouldn't mind having a seasonal house there because you can buy all them old mansions and fix them old mansions up that the auto industry people had, all that great, beautiful woodwork. And so I always kind of keep an eye on them houses because that'd be great. I guess I would have to buy a house in Kalamazoo. I've considered that to be closer to my daughter, but I would prefer to buy a house in Detroit just because it's so much more to do. And Detroit has changed quite a bit. A lot of that griminess. A lot of younger people are moving in Detroit. You can live stream Bob James concert. There you go. There you go. There you go. Sure can. That makes the reason why a lot of these murders went unsolved. The mask, well, kind of robberies and shit. You knew that was gonna come. People robbing with the mask. So, but the manifesting seems to be coming pretty good. I was looking forward to getting this camera, and I want to talk about this camera. Anybody knows? So it's a Canon EOS T8i Rebel DSLR. But the problem with DSLR is a mirrored camera. And right now you can get cheaper cameras without the mirror. If you run this camera in 4K, the camera will box the 4K. Like when you used to rent movies and some of the movies be boxed and shit. But the DSLRs is an old, that go back to the cameras when they invented them. They had a mirror in the camera and shit. it's old technology that's really a dying out technology. And I'm not just a person that just takes pictures. I want it to stream and stuff. And so 1080p, it will do that. But again, you can get the 4K cameras without the mirrors in it. So I'm not gonna buy it. It's just, it's like buying something that's obsolete. You really, in a few years, it's almost gonna be unusable. Um, but Bob James, like one of my favorite songs is "Heads" by Bob James, and they have these chimes. It's like doom, 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 do do do. And then these chimes go dun, 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 how the dun, 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 and shit. And Bob James, and then let me get his name right. Harold Silver. Harold Silver, a song for my father. He gets it. There's parts where he's got these brothers kind of playing mariachi horns. That's what you think, but there's these brothers playing them. And there's a point where, again, that kind of music, they going to sax go solo, but he is challenging the shit. I mean, it's just like when Jimi Hendrix is playing Machine Gun, and you got Buddy Miles or Mitch Mitchell there, and he's killing that shit. And you got these drummers that got to keep up. And that's kind of how Harold Silver is. It's like them motherfuckers going off on the horn, and he's just right there at him, just kicking ass. And at one point, you see where he leads and shit, where he's like, "No, motherfucker, you got to stay up with me." And you just see that the horns like try to, I don't know. I just love that fusion of music and shit, that kind of thing. Where Jimi Hendrix is just kicking ass, and the motherfuckers on the drums, Mitch Mitchell is like kicking ass like a motherfucker too. That guitar's just. So I enjoy that kind of thing. Well, I think I'm gonna call it. Thank you. I appreciate this. Again, Super Slides are hard to follow. I don't really have it has the technology he has and all the information, but I think I still have something important to say, and I appreciate the ones want to hear it. And so I'm going to start with the deviation today, because the day is considered 0 day. 0 day or 20. Some people look at it as 0 day, but some people look at it as 20. And that's why I got the gold. This is like Grambling colors and shit. You see that? Grambling is black and gold. I couldn't get away with this shit at A&T. I'd get my ass whooped. Nigga, why are you wearing them Grambling colors up around here? Even though we got gold in our shit, but black and gold is definitely for black colleges, Grambling. So yeah, motherfuckers would be like, yeah, get that shit up out of here, buddy. Wear that Grambling shit around here. We don't play that, baby. So today is 0 day. And again, the color is gold. And it's Ahau. Ahau. Ahau is how you say the name. And common Mayan usage, Lord, ruler, flower, union, wholeness, unconditional love, solar mastery, cosmic consciousness, language of light, ecstasy, limitless bliss, crown, solar lagos, sun, dove, crown chakra. The color is gold. Passion. The herbs are passion flower or blessed thistle. Flowers are corythiums or passion flowers. The essence is passion flower for cosmic consciousness. The scent is amber resin. Stones, amber, brazilite, golden topaz, cedar stones, yellow sapphires, or diamonds. Element is fire. Direction is from the south. Limiting shadow wisdom. Limiting definitions of self and the divine. Loving conditionally with expectation and judgment. Issues of ideas and identification. Shadow transformation. Being love's presence sets you free. Being love's presence sets you free. Examine your concept of self and divinity. Practice the art of acceptance and allowance in order to embody unconditional love. Harmonic wisdom is harmonic overtones is the harmonic wisdom. The mantra, palms facing towards you at eye level, a shoulder width apart until hands tingle, then rotate palms outward, opening arms to radiate solar consciousness. The meditation, the same golden bird that dwells in the human heart dwells in the sun. Affirmation, I am a child of the light, crowned with self-authority and transparency of the divine child I know to be my true self. So again, if you need a little push of energy, that energy is going to be coming from the south. So if you manifest, you face south, you might get a little push. I don't guarantee anything, but you might just get a little push, because that's where the energy is coming from. There's always a rotation. It's not just the clocks and your time that rotate. There's always a rotation of real time and real things. And so, I thank you for coming to get this. I'm looking for the shit and I'm reading the shit and I'm looking for it. That's some old man shit there, boy. I'm sitting there looking at the shit, reading the shit on the paper, and I'm like looking for this motherfucker. It's like motherfucking. I'm holding the cable, the fucking remote, and I'm looking for the remote. I'm looking for the motherfucker. Like, where this goddamn remote at? I'm looking on the couch and shit, and I'm holding the motherfucker. That old man is a motherfucker. But I always end with the words from the Time Walking. The few stuff of the Time Walkers I can't share, I do agree to share. It all starts with a gentle sadness. Mora, I'm sorry. They all starts with a gentle sadness. They came from their original homeland. They knew that they had exact numbers of years and days before they would disappear off the earth as a culture and a lifestyle. But the civilization would build to a gentle love. They lived in the Creator's day and knew how to separate cycles in the great serpent, which is our galaxy of the Milky Way. So they telling you the Time Walkers knew how to move through the Milky Way. And to all my relations out there, all my relatives, all my relations, all my friends, all my homies, remember, I am another yourself. So treat me like you would treat yourself. This is the Chocolate Mountain Show. I am your host, Big Pontiac. Till we meet again, say less.